The continued work that has started in 2011 to create more laws to privatize the public school system. In other words, they want to put public taxpayer money in the pockets of private corporations. Privatizing public schools can only work with the myth that public schools are failing, and that's just not true. While we know there's work to be done, for example, we need to dismantle the school to prison pipeline, but we also know that the state's graduation rates have never been higher and dropout rates have never been lower. And they privatize our schools in three ways: through tax credits and vouchers, through the explosive growth of charter schools, and through devaluing the teaching profession. So one of the first things they did was create what they called opportunity scholarships. In fact, they let that pass in the budget, meaning they didn't let it go through all the committees and have a full hearing. They just stuck it in the budget so it would only have to be voted on once. But the truth is that opportunity scholarships are just vouchers, and vouchers have never worked. And it means that this public money that we have is going to be given to private schools that have little or no oversight. In fact, schools are only accountable to report if they have more than 25 voucher students. So guess what they're going to do? Stop at 24. And voucher programs have never shown any improvement in student achievement. Cleveland and Milwaukee have had these programs the longest, and the students who received the vouchers scored lower on proficiency tests than students in public schools. Now what you'll hear is the lie that, this helps all students. They just don't want to tell you that students in traditional public schools do better than the students in the private schools. And this is supposed to help low-income people. And I saw legislators say, I got to tell people who are low-income that they don't have the same opportunity. But the truth is, the low-income people don't have the same opportunity as the folks down the road because this doesn't work. Tuition and fees in this were paid by a $4,200 scholarship or voucher. Private school tuition far exceeds $4,200, and any school worth going to isn't going to be, you're not going to be able to afford with $4,200, and they tell you, well, parents will just make up the rest. Well, I don't know if they've ever been low income. In fact, I'm probably pretty sure because they believe there's no poverty in North Carolina. If you have to have $1,000 to make up for this private school, that means you're not paying rent. That means you're not feeding your family. The whole thing about poverty and low income is that you need more money. And you don't need to spend money for something that the state has the constitutional mandate to provide. The Constitution says that the General Assembly, through taxation or otherwise, has to fund a general and uniform system of free public schools. I don't know about you, but spending $4,200 to a private school is not a free public school. And so then they said, let's make it easier for charter schools, which can be run by nonprofit groups, but backed by for-profit corporations. So what did they do? They passed a law that said, well, if a charter school is doing poorly, another entity can come get it, take the assets, and that school won't be closed. Well, that means that some for-profit corporation, like the KIPP School, well, KIPP schools might be nonprofit, but some franchise organization, KIPP's Green Dot, can come in, they already have the money, and take over a school and make money off of our students. Students aren't commodities. They aren't supposed to be bought and sold on the stock market. And they already segregate schools in charter schools already. Black schools get blacker, the white schools get whiter, and what we find is that where charter schools have to reasonably reflect the ethnic or racial composition in the area where the school is located. That's what the law used to say. Now all they have to do is make efforts to do it. How hard do you think those efforts are going to be to integrate schools? Now, those are the two things I said. The third thing they did was devalue the teaching profession. What did they do? They ended tenure for all teachers. And the truth is, tenure isn't like tenure in college or university. It's simply due process. And I don't know about y'all, but for ending a due process right sounds like an unconstitutional deprivation of the teacher's property right to due process. That's what I think. The NCAE has already said they were going to sue, and that's a good thing. They use tenure to create a myth that teachers only care about their jobs and not children. It takes a teacher 15 years to make $40,000 in North Carolina. They are not in it for the money. And now they'll be put on 1 to 4 year contracts, which will be an administrative nightmare for the superintendents they claim to love. Now, there was a lot of bad legislation, but I know that preachers say, trouble don't last always. And I know how this movie ends. We win. They tried to claim the schools were separate but equal. They weren't. We got Brown versus Board of Education, and we won. In the 1970s, they said there was a freedom of choice movement to resegregate the schools. We won. They tried to resegregate schools in Wake County 2 years ago. We won. When we fight, we win. We'll just keep raising our voices and protect our children's education. We win.